Hi guys and welcome back to the channel. Today we're featuring the French brand Herbelin. Now Herbelin I believe have been going for around about 75 years and they've got some quite interesting watches. I've reviewed one of their carbon pieces not so long ago and that one I thought was a bit of a bargain and also quite a good looking watch. This one here though is part of their Cap Camarat range of watches and this I do believe is the true standout model from that range. I love the full DLC black work on this. It looks superb. But if you want to give it a little bit more colour, you can always go for the same watch but with the orange strap, and then it really does pop. I think it really does look quite a striking watch like that. It's definitely one of those watches, if it's on your wrist, people are going to mention it, I believe. But before we get too far into this review, I'm going to have to say a massive thank you to the team over at First Class Watches of Kenilworth. They've got loads of cool watches and some brands which other companies just simply haven't got hold of yet. So I'd strongly recommend popping into their dealership if you're in the UK, in the Midlands area. If you're a bit further afield, well, don't worry, I'll leave a link in the description below and at the bottom of the page. All I ask is that you do mention the channel when you contact them. So anyway, let's talk sizes. We're talking a case size of 42mm. The thickness of the watch is coming in at, I think it was 12.6mm. And the lug to lug, so I went across here to here, was coming out at a very wearable 46.8. Now, the strap on this one, because it's got the male piece sticking out from there, you're talking 11mm across here and 24mm across the width of the strap. So anyway, the dial. Now, the dial I think is absolutely superb on this. I love the ridges across the actual dial because it just catches the light in certain ways. You know, you kind of pick it up more on one line than the other and it makes it look a little bit more interesting. But it's got a very sharp look to it. I like the applied markers here. Now, the markers, lume pip and hands do have lume. It does look very crisp, but maybe not the longest lasting, but it definitely looks smart on this watch. Now we have a day-date complication going on here on a black date wheel, which obviously complements this black dial really well. Overall, I can't really criticize it in any way. It just looks superb. It is really nice. You've got a little bit of writing up here, which looks perfectly okay with 200 meters there, and the made in France, which does look quite cool on this. Now, the eagle eye amongst you may have noticed the bezel is on the inside, but give me a minute and I'll get to that once we, well, actually, no, let's go straight for it. So we've got two crowns on here. Now, we have the time setting crown here, which if I pull this out, comes out there and you've got straight into, is that date change? Yep, date change there. So as you can see, and pull it all the way out, we go into hacking, but let's screw that back in. Now the second one has got this orange piece here. This again is a screw down crown. So as we unscrew this, you can see it goes into the actual bezel adjustment. Now I always think an internal bezel does look good. It really, it makes it clean. You get a much cleaner top to the watch here. And as you can see, is there much, it's a tiny bit of, what you call it, slack between the two, but it is absolutely minimal. And it feels nice and progressive as you actually turn it there. So let's put this back up at the center. Now, one thing I will be intrigued as I screw this back in, that's good. Sometimes what I was getting there, sometimes when you screw the crown back in, which operates an internal crown, I've had it on a couple of watches. As you go to screw it in, it flicks the actual bezel over. And it is a pain in the backside, but I'm happy to say this one screws in and it doesn't affect the movement of the bezel at all there. So hats off to them, they've done a good one there. Now, the actual crystal of the watch is a sapphire with AR coating on there. Now, the actual bezel on here is screwed down to the body of the watch, and it's got this very cool brushwork going on there. So you've got to catch it in certain lights and you can see it's brushed, but then you get the gloss finish to these actual screws there. And it does look good because you get that kind of contrast. And as you look from the side, again, you have a heavy gloss finish on the side with the matte finish on top. So even though it's black, you do actually have different textures to it, and I think it makes it look a bit more, it gives it a bit more kind of zing to it, that you do get that. Now, as you can see, the actual body of the watch, we have a satinized brush finish going on there, but on the bevel there, it's come out polished. So it's basically, as the DLC goes on, where it's polished, you get this lovely kind of highlighted crispness to it, and on the brushwork and the satinized finish, you see that grain come through, and it really does make the watch look that little bit better, I think. Now, over on this side, we do have crown guards going on. They probably protect probably about half of the actual crowns themselves, but you know, it makes it look quite good. You do have a sign crown actually adjusting the time setting there. It does look quite cool. Now, as we flip this one round, as you can see, we have a display case back, and I think it looks really, really cool, because on the back of this, you do have the Sellita SW220. Now, the only difference between a 220 and an SW200 is the 220 basically has a day-date complication there. But in essence, the movement is exactly the same. It's only on the dial side where you get the extra complication for the extra date wheel. I put this on the time grapher, and to be fair, I think it was coming in at, what was it, +3. Now, I must say, I did have a little bit of magnetism on this when I first got it, so I put it on the demagnetizer, pressed the button, and it came in much better. Honestly, guys, if you have a collection of watches, or even if you just have an automatic watch, invest in a demagnetizer. They're not expensive, and they really are good, because your watch will naturally pick up magnetism, from all over the place. Mobile phones, laptops, whatever. They do pick it up. Even the ones which say they are, they've got a strong magnetic protection about them. Yes, they may do, or even silicone hairsprings. They might not get magnetized, but you've still got the rest of the watch to think of. So anyway, I digress. One thing I must point out as well, this watch does have 200 meters of water resistance. So it is actually, a proper diver. Now, one thing I should say is I was looking on their website earlier, and I think they're offering a 5-year warranty on all their watches till the end of the year. Normal warranty on this watch would be 3 years, but at the moment they are offering 5, so that is a real bonus. Now, the strap on this watch is made from their FKA rubber, and that, now I know some people have said about rubber straps that they can degrade over the years, and that is true, they can do, but this one actually carries a 10-year warranty, so you're not going to have any trouble with this at all. I personally think the rubber straps on this range of watches look better than the bracelets. As you can see, very soft, very kind of flexible. You do have the DLC pin and buckle on the end here, which does look good. Let me put this on my wrist so you got an idea how it looks. Now, one thing I would say, the actual price of this watch you can pick up at first class watches for around about £1,000, maybe a tiny bit more, but it is definitely, I think, for that price, fantastic. Quick wrist check. I'm wearing a black watch as well. I'm wearing my new to me Zin 656 on its new bracelet, which is very, very cool. And you've got Bob here wearing the new Oris Diver. Now, one thing I would say, when it comes to the actual price of this watch, that is almost double. And they have the same movement, basically. So, I personally think the Herbelin is a bit of a bargain. So my wrist size is 7¼ inches, which equates to, I think it's 18.5 centimeters, give or take. So let's just put this on and you get an idea. And there it is. I think this is one very sharp looking watch. I think it really looks good with that contrasting orange on there. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of it. But most importantly, stay safe up there. All the best, guys. Take care. Bye.